Hey everybody, this is Rob Jan Webb here for Waxadisc, and what I want to show you today is a track that I made about a year ago where I did like quite an upbeat disco thing using all the classic elements, you know, bass, guitar, Rhodes, lead line, etc. But it's just something I never got around to releasing. So what I thought I would do is I would turn it into a tutorial to show you how I put it together and give you guys a lot of ideas and little techniques and things you can take away and put in your own productions. So the track is 125 BPM, and so it's quite up there. You know, it's quite a good solid tempo, and it's quite energetic. It's got a lot going on. It's got influences of Patrick Adams in there, and it's got, you know, influences of classic sort of, you know, boogie soul in there as well. So I'm going to work my way through it, and then we'll see exactly what I can show you so that you can take things for your own productions. Okay, so what I've got here is 16 tracks in total, and it consists of a few beats, a bit of percussion, there's claps and shakers, etc. But the main beats themselves are just a couple of loops that I've chopped up and put in with a kick drum. But I'm just going to whippily play through the track now, and I'm going to show you some of the you know, the main elements of the track. So it goes like this. It's just a nice chuggy sort of little boogie disco track. No vocals, nothing like that. So it builds like that, quite, you know, quite steady, and then it gets to this part and the bass changes, and then it goes up a notch. So you can hear it's quite energetic. There's a bit of Patrick Adams influence in there, and that kind of boogie. So there you go. That's the general feel of the track. So let's work it out and let's break it down. Let me show you exactly what it is I've done. As I say, it's 125 BPM, so we've got these disco beats here. This is just an old disco sample pack, and it's on a high pass so that it goes with the kick. And then it's got this house beat underneath, and all I've done with this house beat is I've cut out the kick, except there's a kick in there, but I've cut the first kick out and just stole the little hi-hat shake thing. But I've just kind of filtered out, if you can see down here on the EQ, I've filtered out the bottom end for the kick, so then it fits with that, with the disco sample drum and the kick. And there you go. It's quite raw. And then on top of that, I put some claps in there, some disco claps. Let's have a look at them. See, they're quite muddy. It's quite, you know, there's just very subtle. And some shakers. And then open hat. Just a 909, that is. With the 909, I've shortened it, looks. If you notice here, it doesn't go the full length. So I've cut off a lot of the decay and made... And that's just to give it that sharper sort of feel to it. And then you've got the crash, obviously. You've got a straightforward crash. And so that's that. So there were the beats. Nothing special. Okay, so then the groove of the track. Let's have a look. So we've got let's go over to the Rhodes, which is the E bass piano. And this is just the E piano basic. And it's like this. So it's an F minor 7 chord and a G minor 7 chord. that's all it is. Let's look at the notation of that. So we double click on there. Let's open it up. So it's like a F, G sharp, C, D, but we've stuck an F in there, then like, and then it just goes like that. So it's just basically the F minor 7 chord, but goes up to the G. But then what happens is when the track changes at this point, let's have a look at the chord there. We've got the G minor 7, so it goes up to here. And it just stays flat like that. And then it goes back to the F minor 7. So it's very simple. It's very static and linear in terms of arrangement. Look, if you notice, look, it's just the G minor 7 chord all the way through that bit, and then back again to the F minor 7. So, with that in mind, let's look at the bass line. So the bass line comes from the Contact, which is the free version of Contact, which is something that I highly recommend you get if you haven't already. It's in the factory settings there, look, and it's just in the band, I think, or vintage. No, it's in the band section. And it's there, look, the funk bass. And it's as simple as it comes. It's just, let's get the, so we go down the octave and, so all that bass is F, D sharp and C. And that's what it does. Very simple pattern. So it's all about keeping things simple. Things don't have to go crazy and over the top, and you don't have to have loads of different things going off. Keep your notation simple. And then the chorus bit, and the chorus bass is like a octave bass. Dum 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 dum. So that's where I've really picked up the pace there with the bass. Like it gets a lot faster, but it's just from one octave of the G to the second octave of the G, and the notes are smaller on the higher octave. So it's very simple. So there you go. So that was the bass. Next up then is the guitar. So the guitar here that I've used, this comes from the guitar within Ableton. So this is the guitar dead notes. I don't know quite where this is in the presets. It's from the packs anyway. So from within here, look, within the Ableton packs, guitar sound, guitar amps, and it is, which one is it? It just says guitar. So I'm going to suggest it's just this one. That's it. It's that one. So that one there, and then all I've done is I've got it on a muted. So it's like a muted sort of guitar strat. Like that. So I'm going to go. You know, it's really, really simple. And then the guitar mute underneath. And with loads of delay on it, and you put those two together. Let's have a look. Very simple. You look at the notation. It's just the notes of the chord, look. That's the G minor 7. And then we'll go back to the main body, which is the F minor 7. Again there, look, you see the notation, it's just using the notes of the chord, just going up the scale, up the keyboard, so it'd be F, G sharp, C, D sharp, and repeat and come back down, look. That's all it is. So, you know, when you think about a lot of guitar stuff is, you know, if you want simple little guitar stabs, use the guitars out of here, the muted and the guitar, and they work well together. And you put the Rhodes back on, and then the bass. And then the next thing then is basically the lead line. And the lead line, which I've used here, comes from the Tyrell. And it's a sound called the Little Grey One. And that's just a... Go up the octaves. Obviously it's filtered at that point there, so if I move the mouse over here. And I've just modulated the wheel. And it's just a really cool sound. If you listen to it on its own, like, it's quite hard and acid, you know. So if you modulate it with the wheel, it just gives out the funk. So that's the lead line, and again, there's a simple note. And then on top of that, we've got this Patrick Adams style lead line, which I'm really like using. And this is in the Viking, and this is called, in the perk lead, it's called the Velocity Res. Now this lead line is just quality. It's just, and because it's obviously a mono synth, you can only use one at a time, so it gives it that. It gives it that. If you listen to any Patrick Adams record, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about there. So that one there, that just double. Basically, if you look at the pattern, it's what I've suggested there is, look, which is over this part here, look, just flipping from one octave to the other. And then I did the same for this one, which is the same lead line. I've just put it on a different channel for the cut-off reasons, I think. But this has got like a lead line solo. And then at this point here, that's a classic sort of funk feel, where you get one note, which will be, in this case, it will be the C. And then you'll go on the... And then you hold down the C note, and then play the D, which is it on the D sharp, and just really press the D sharp faster, and then pitch bend it down, and that gives it that classic sort of, you know, a lot of records used to do that with their pitch bend wheels, just to give a kind of spacey effect, I suppose. Okay. And then it bends. And it does it again here, and then there, look. And this time I do it the reverse. Starts getting faster and faster, and slows, and drops. So it's all about just having those little tiny techniques, you know, put in there so that it doesn't get too boring and too flat. As I say, the track's quite static anyway, but generally there's a lot of movement in there, and that's the beauty of it. Have simple chords, but then around that make stuff flexible and bouncy and rubbery and you know, and elasticated, so to speak. And just, you know, the groove itself is the same all the way through. And then there's one final thing in there. I'll put this like glissando sort of thing in there with a sound from Ableton's bank called the Celestial Pad. Now this is, if I got the octaves, it's like really magical bell sort of. But what I've done is I've gone and done like a glissando thing from all the way up the notes of the chord, so of the F minor 7 chord, like that. But obviously it's a lot faster, and it goes like this. So if I play it for you, solo it, so it gives it that kind of magicy, sprinkly sort of effect, which is really nice to have. You know, it's nice to have that kind of. And I've done one there for the same one, but in the G minor one. Let me just solo that. And it's just a really nice little effect to get, you know. So that's that. And then this thing at the bottom here, that's just a sound effect. That's just a whoosh rise effect thing, just to give a bit of atmosphere. It's like a wave space thing. So yeah, so overall that's the basis of the track. You know, if you want to make something a little bit more up tempo, disco-y still, but give it a bit of a house vibe, keep it simple, have the you know, a couple of chords, static, not too much movement, some nice guitar muted guitars underneath there, just flickering away, a good solid bass line like the funk bass from the Contact, and then a couple of really good raw, you know, kind of dirty lead lines in there that will help it move along and expand it and make it, you know, very more modulated and moving. So that's it. And obviously if you want to stick a vocal on top, you know, things like that. So yeah, they're your main elements really. So, you know, I wouldn't go and try and put too much in. As I say, a few beats, put a few beats together, block a few beats together, a bass line, a lead line, electric Rhodes, a couple of guitars but muted so they're not all over the place and too funky, a celestial pad, and try that little trick what I've done. More drums. There's more drums in this than pretty much anything. And then the lead line, which that is duplication of that anyway, that's a duplicate of that, and a reverse sort of reverb effect with loads of reverb on down here from the bus sends. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Any questions, just give me a shout and I'll help you as best I can. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care, goodbye.